Okay everyone, I'm going to start a new video series and it's called Identify That Plant, or what is that plant? I don't know the name of it yet, but the first plant that we're going to put on that series is a survivalist dream. This plant right here, if you come closer, is Yucca. It grows everywhere throughout the United States. Here where I'm at in the south, most people grow it in their yard as an ornamental, but this plant is amazing. It does so many different things. The root is edible. This stalk right here, when it's small and soft, when it's just shooting up from the base down here and still soft, you can take it and boil it and eat that. Once again, the root is edible. The root is much like a potato. This stalk gets white flowers, and the white flowers are delicious, and they make very good additions to salads. Obviously, the flowers are gone, but if you'll zoom in on these seed pods here, the seed pods are edible as well. Right now, the seed pods are green. I'll cut one open for you. Come down here. Okay. These seeds right now are still soft enough to eat raw, and they're very tasty. But they will get hard, and when they get hard, you can grind them up and make them into a meal type cornmeal food. And but right now, when the seed pods are still green, this is the edible part that I'm going to eat on this plant right now. Some more valuable uses of this plant is soap. To me, there's no excuse to stink in the wilderness, people. Wash your hippie butt. Hippies don't stink. Use Yucca. If you'll come down here to this plant here and notice the leaves here, I'm going to go ahead and cut a leaf off, and I also wanted to point out these fibers. This plant is very fibrous, and it makes great cordage, which most of you people that are savvy at wilderness skills know that cordage is one of the most important materials there are. But a lot of the natives in the Southwest made clothes out of this plant. So right now I'm going to demonstrate how you can use this plant for soap. Whenever you make cordage out of this plant, you got to scrape the pulp, not with a sharp knife. With a butter knife works good, but if you scrape the pulp, you expose the fibers. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked from my soap demonstration, but this pulp has a lot to do with the soap demonstration. So what I do is when I scrape this whole leaf to expose the fibers, I save all that green pulp and use that as a shampoo. I mix it with water and pound it out, and it'll foam up and get nice and frothy, and I'll use that stuff in my hair, and it is absolutely amazing the things that it does to your hair. I would like to show you guys. I'm sure it would be, I could do a Pantene commercial or something with my beautiful locks after Yucca, but I'm not going to demonstrate how to use it for a shampoo. But I highly recommend that you guys try it at home. Save this green pulp, mix it with water, get it nice and frothy, put it in your hair. I have read that, I may be wrong, but I have read somewhere, I can't recall, that the Aztec women used to use yucca soap in their hair before weddings because it made their hair so beautiful. But let's get back to my soap demonstration. Okay, we have the leaves from the yucca, and I have dirty soot on my hands from my bow drill material. So I'm going to demonstrate how to use yucca as soap. First, you have to have some leaves, and you want to rough the leaves up like this. You want to get the leaves all broken up, and they're pretty tough because they're very fibrous. That's why they make great cordage. People even weave the leaves themselves into basketry. But get the leaves nice and broken up like so. Get a little water. Start rubbing in your hands. And the fiber acts as a scouring pad, like a Brillo pad or a brush. But once again, there's no reason to be dirty in the wilderness. But it's kind of hard to see, but you'll start developing a little green foam on your hands. Like I said, it's kind of hard to see, but here we go. Yeah, notice the foam. That's the soapins in the plant. Yeah, it's really doing good now. This stuff, once again, I highly recommend that you guys try this in your hair. I mean, it's making my hands really, really soft and supple as well. But look at the water. Look at the soap in the water. That's amazing. My hands are very soft, everyone. Here's what it looks like when it's done. I was saying earlier to save the pulp to use on your hair. But if you want to, you can take this in the shower with you and just the same way I just did my hands, scrub your hair, and that works great too. But if you guys will look at my hands, look how clean they are. I mean, that was ashy soot that I had on my hands. I'd like to try some motor oil next time, see how well it takes off motor oil. But yeah, that's how you use yucca for soap. Next, come back over here to the plant. This will be my final utilitarian use for the yucca plant. I like to point out medicinal, utilitarian, and edible parts of plants. But this stalk right here is the absolute most amazing thing to use for friction fire, whether it be bow drill or hand drill, whatever. It has a very low ignition temperature, so it makes amazing friction fires. I remember whenever I first tried hand drill fires, it took me 6 months to get my first hand drill fire, and I got really, really proficient at using different materials, and I had not been introduced to yucca yet, but I got amazing technique from using hard materials on creating hand drill fires. And I saw at a primitive skills gathering a guy that had never cranked out a hand drill before, and this was his first friction fire, and it was a hand drill. And I was like thinking to myself, chuckling, this is going to be a joke. And he had the most god-awful technique that you had ever seen, like you would expect a beginner to have. Terrible technique. And I saw this guy crank out a hand drill fire within 2 passes. His hands went up, came down, went up again, came down. He had a coal going on the fireboard. And as soon as I saw that, I was amazed. Now that can ruin you as far as friction fires go. You want to train yourself on the hard stuff, because if you get used to this, you'll get spoiled and you'll never know how to create a friction fire without it. But if you live in the desert where this stuff is abundant, you should never go cold, because it is the easiest thing to create friction fire with. So I'm going to go ahead and, obviously we can't do it right now because this plant is still green, but I'm going to go ahead and cut it before it gets these worms that eat it up. I'm going to cut it and let it dry out, and we'll do a friction fire 2 months from now out of it. You'll want to start down here at the base as low as you can. And just cut at an angle. Very tough, so kind of got to take and carve almost like you're whittling. Okay, there's one. Get this other one. Okay, so a quick review on the yucca plant. Edible parts: the root, the flowers, the stalk when it's little, the seed pods, the seeds, and even the pulp off of the leaves is nice and sugary and starchy. You can even eat the pulp off of the leaves. Utilitarian, friction fire probably be the highest on my list. Cordage is really amazing as well. And soap, very, very important. So please remember to like and subscribe, and enjoy my new wilderness series.